Today's specific album quest drills down into episode 118 of his series. He calls it the Sabbath Shootout.
Ooh, okay. All Black Sabbath.
You got it. All Sabbath group. The contenders for this group 118 are Headless Cross, Master of Reality, Cross Purposes, and Dehumanizer.
Wow, that's quite a lineup, spanning different eras, too.
Exactly. So our mission today for this album quest is to unpack Greenstock's journey through these heavyweights, look at his rankings, and explore the pretty surprising results he came up with for this all-Sabbath clash. Expect heavy riffs and maybe some controversial opinions. Now, before we get into the actual rankings, Greenstock gives a bit of context, sort of an initial vibe check. He mentions he's been finding the more recent Tony Martin-era Sabbath stuff quite groovy.
Ah, okay. That's telling.
Yeah, he describes it as dark still, but slick and polished classic rock. So that's a pretty strong hint right away about his leanings, maybe separating his taste from, say, the Ozzy era.
And that makes perfect sense. If you know Sabbath's history, they weren't just one sound, were they? They evolved at these distinct periods with different vocalists, each bringing something new to Tony Iommi's incredible guitar work.
Right.
You've got the early Ozzy era, that raw, doomy, bluesy sound. Then Ronnie James Dio, more epic power metal, almost fantasy themed. And then the Tony Martin years, which Greenstock seems to like, often more, polished, maybe a bit more prog rock influenced at times.
So him liking the Martin stuff suggests he's drawn to that particular sound, that polish, maybe less so the raw or earlier stuff.
Exactly. It's like preferring, I don't know, a smooth bourbon over a really smoky Islay whiskey. Both great, but they hit different notes, appeal to different preferences.
Good analogy. Okay, so keeping that preference for the Tony Martin sound in mind, let's dive into Greenstock's rankings for Group 118. We'll start at the bottom with number 4. And this one, well, might surprise a lot of people. He ranked Master of Reality last.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that is surprising. For many, many fans, Master of Reality is foundational.
Right. I mean, personally, that album is huge.
Oh, yeah.
Absolute cornerstone stuff.
And historically, it absolutely is. Released in 1971, I mean, it basically laid the groundwork for heavy metal, doom metal, sludge, everything. Think Sweet Leaf, Children of the Grave. Those riffs.
Iconic.
Totally iconic. Defined that early 70s heavy sound, the down-tuned guitars, the dark vibe. Its influence is massive. So yeah, seeing it ranked last here isn't just a surprise. It's Greenstock's really putting his personal taste front and center, challenging decades of, critical agreement.
Yeah, it really makes you ask, what was he hearing? And his notes give us a clue. He described Master of Reality as, quote, early-sounding Ozzy-fronted, which, okay, it is. But then he called it doomy and a little raw. And the key bit, surprisingly, not up to the standard of the rest of the group.
Ah, so you can hear that preference for the slick and polished coming through again. The rawness didn't quite work for him compared to the others in this specific group.
Seems like it. A real reminder that even acknowledged classics can land differently depending on individual taste and maybe the context of what they're being compared against. Okay, moving up one spot to number 3. Just ahead of Master of Reality, Greenstock's placed Dehumanizer. Now this one is from the second Dio era with Sabbath.
Right, the big reunion album in the early 90s.
Yeah. His take here was pretty brief, actually. He just said it ain't bad. And he did single out one track, calling it excellent, if slightly disturbing.
Dehumanizer. Yeah, that was in 1992. A powerful album. Definitely darker, heavier than the first Dio era, perhaps. It brought back Dio's amazing voice, but with a more modern, aggressive edge for the time.
Makes sense.
And I is a great example of that. It's relentless, driving, classic Dio storytelling. The disturbing part, probably that intense atmosphere, maybe Dio's raw delivery on it. It's potent stuff.
So better than Master of Reality in his ears for this round, but still not top tier for this particular group.
Seems that way. Compelling, but maybe not hitting that sweet spot for him quite like the others.
Which brings us to the top 2. And this is where that appreciation for the Tony Martin era he mentioned earlier really plays out. Taking second place is Headless Cross.
Okay. A Martin-era favorite for many.
Greenstock was really positive about this one. He said it had much of the same qualities as the album that ended up winning. He pointed out some super catchy songs, especially when Death Calls. Said he just cannot stop singing it in his head.
An earworm. That's always a good sign in these kinds of rankings.
Definitely. So yeah, Headless Cross, firmly in that Tony Martin period sound he enjoys. Melodic, but still heavy Sabbath.
And Headless Cross from '89, it's often seen as a real high point of that Martin era. Greenstock's ranking it highly makes sense. It does find that balance, you know? Classic Iommi heaviness, but with more melody, this kind of epic feel that Martin's voice handles so well.
Right.
When Death Calls is a perfect example. Big riffs, but also super memorable. It's got that polish Greenstock seems to value. It feels, yeah, slick, but powerful. I can see why it would beat out the rawness of Master of Reality or even the aggression of Dehumanizer for someone with his taste.
Okay, drumroll please. The winner of Greenstock's Sabbath Shootout, the #1 album in Group 118 according to his personal album quest, is Cross Purposes.
Another Tony Martin album. Okay.
Yep, he was really enthusiastic about it. Declared he was, and I quote, "plomping for Cross Purposes to win this group."
Huh. Plomping for it. I like that. Firm choice then.
Seems so. And his reasoning really lays out his preferences clearly. He loved its nice mix of heavy rock and ballad-esque melodies. That combination, plus Tony Martin's excellent growl, and of course, Tony Iommi's brilliant guitar work, just sealed the deal for him.
That blend. Heavy rock and ballad-esque melodies. That sounds very much like the Martin era strength.
Exactly. He even listed specific tracks that were hitting the sweet spot for him on Cross Purposes. Immaculate Deception, Dying for Love, and he called Hand That Rocks the Cradle anthemic. It sounds like for him, this album just delivered everything he was looking for in this shootout.
Yeah, Cross Purposes from '94, it really does capture that specific blend. You get the unmistakable Iommi riffs, that heavy foundation, but they're woven into songs that have more room to breathe, more melodic space. And Tony Martin's voice is key there. He can soar on the melodies, but also bring that excellent growl for the heavier parts. It's dynamic. Songs like Immaculate Deception bring the power. Dying for Love shows that emotional, melodic side. So for a listener like Greenstock, who clearly values that mix heavy but refined, melodic but powerful, yeah, Cross Purposes makes a lot of sense as a winner. It shows how personal connection can absolutely trump, you know, historical weight or consensus. It's about what hits you hardest.
Absolutely. So just to quickly run through those final rankings for Group 118, the Sabbath Shootout, according to Greenstock's album quest, #1, Cross Purposes, #2, Headless Cross, #3, Dehumanizer, and #4, Master of Reality.
What a list. It's fascinating, isn't it? It really flips the script on what maybe a lot of longtime Sabbath fans would expect, challenges that almost god-tier status of the early Ozzy albums.
He really does.
It highlights how an album's historical importance or its influence doesn't automatically guarantee it wins in a personal ranking.